is outbreeding? Outbreeding is the reverse case of inbreeding, means production of offspring through mating between individuals unrelated or distantly related by ancestral descent. The purpose of outbreeding is to exploit the genetic phenomenon of heterosis and complementary. Heterosis, where performance of the offsprings are better or worse than the mean of the two parents, which means positive heterosis or negative heterosis. Complementary is the phenomenon under which the progeny inherits advantageous traits from the both parents, such as example, Serie cow inherits with Jersey bulls will become Jersey Serie X-bred. What is outcross? Outcross is the mating of an individual to another in the same breed that is not related to it. It means it produces a high level of heterozygosity.
The next part is advantages and disadvantages of outbreeding. The first advantages is population usually show more variation than inbreeding ones, and new and high-yielding genes can be introduced into the population. And the third one is increases the number of heterozygous individuals, and they also can produce some valuable traits. Disadvantages of outbreeding is the first one is introduction of new genes into the population, and the second one is discomfort of animals. This has happened because accidentally reproduced traits that are damaging to the health of animal. For example, cows can only produce large amount of milk if they have large udders.
There are some differences between inbreeding and outbreeding. Inbreeding involves mating between closely related animals that occurs within the same breed for 4 to 6 generations, while outbreeding is breeding of the unrelated animals where selected breed having no common ancestor for a 4 to 6 generations. Then, inbreeding helps in maintenance of homozygosity, thereby helping in maintenance of purity of a race. In outbreeding, it results in production of hybrids. Repeated inbreeding may lead to a decline in productivity, while repeated outbreeding helps in maintenance of the superiority. In inbreeding, the offsprings are not superior to the parents, but the outbreed offsprings are superior to the parents. Factors that need to be considered before doing outbreeding. 1. Breeding objective. What is the purpose of outbreeding? Is it to transfer specific alleles from one individual to another, or to increase the genetic diversity? 2. What and who do we measure? For example, do we want to measure the quantity of the animal produce or to measure the quality of the offspring? 3. Number and which animals to select. For example, in 1995, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Department released 8 female Texas cougars in Florida to mate with Florida panther. Their goal was to conserve endangered species of Florida panthers at that time.
Another breeding system is grading up. What is grading up? Grading up is the breeding of animals of two different breeds where the animals of an indigenous breed or genetic group is mated by an improved pure breed for several generations towards attaining the superior traits of the improved breed. For example, we get the nondescript animal which do not belong to any breed, and we will breed them with some exotic breed and get their offspring. And when we get their offspring, we will breed again with the same exotic breed. We continue for 5 to 6 generations, and after that, the generations become very similar to the exotic breed. This is what we call as grading up.
Hi, line crossing is the practice of the mating animals that are of the same breed, but from driven lines, which is what lines are established by the process of line breeding. So, going back to our imaginary horses again, Tumbleweed is a good example of line crossing, even though Dustiver comes from an inbred bloodline. He was mated to an unrelated mare of the same breed, which is Sunflower, to produce Tumbleweed. Because of this line crossing, Tumbleweed has no significant over many generations, we would probably find related ancestors, but their contribution to his genetics will be so small as to be negligible. How line cross breeding works. When animals of two different bloodlines are mated, the genes that they share in common will continue to stay alive in their offspring. For example, suppose we cross two bloodlines of Angus cattle. The Zaire and the Dane come from families with very different production characteristics, but they are both Angus and they are both black, while their production traits will be paired in new ways in their cow. It will be like them, which is be black and obviously an Angus. The unique physical characteristics that make an Angus will be passed on in spite of the line crossing. The reason is illustrated by the genetic formula for black color. The Zaire having two copies of the B gene will pass one copy of the B gene onto the calf, and the dam will do likewise. Thus, the calf will also have the formula BB. However, because there are differences between each bloodline, the offspring of a cross between two lines will not always receive pairs of like genes from its parents.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anis Hanani binti Muhammad Razi, and today I will talk about crossbreed. Okay, so what is crossbreed? Crossbreed is an organism with pure breed parents of two different breed varieties or population, and usually crossbreed is produced by mating or hybridizing two different species, breed or varieties of animals. Usually crossbreed, we will take one superior male of one breed and another superior female from another breed. We will hybrid them to produce another breed. So it is what we call crossbreed, because we take two different breeds and we combine them together. One of the reasons why we use crossbreed is we want to take advantage of breed complementation. Of example of crossbreed is Hisadale. Hisadale is new breed of sheep in Punjab, and it is produced by crossing Bicadari ewes and Merino rams. So this is how it looks like. And I think that's all from me. I hope everyone can understand what I trying to explain, and that's all. Thank you.
Other type of outbreeding is species cross. Species cross is a breeding occur between two different related species, which can also be called interspecific hybridization. Interspecific hybrids are generally sterile, means they are not reproductive in nature and they cannot give birth, and they are not capable to be converted into fertile form. Therefore, this species cross performed only when sterile hybrid is far superior to either of the parents, means the young one is very good in characteristic, but that characteristic must be economically beneficial to human being. For example, mule. A mule is the offspring of a male donkey and a female horse. Horses and donkeys are different species with different numbers of chromosomes. Of the first two generation hybrid between these two species, a mule is easier to obtain than a hiney, which is the offspring of a female donkey and male horse. The size of a mule and work to which it is put depend largely on the breeding of the mule's mother. Mules can be lightweight, medium weight, or heavy weight. Mules are reported to be more patient, hardy, and long-lived than horses, and are described as more intelligent than donkey. The other example of species cross is liger. Liger is a hybrid offspring of a male lion and a female tiger. The liger has parents in the same genus but a different species. The liger is distinct from the similar hybrid called the tiger and is the largest of all non-extant feline. They enjoy swimming, which is a characteristic of tigers, and very sociable like lions. Next, tiger typically grow larger than either parent species, unlike tiger.